Okay, well, it's good to be back, especially after a 2 week hiatus there. Let's see here, just making sure everything is good to go. And let's see here, what do we got going on? Hey, Vanderi, how's it going? Good to see you, buddy. And we got Clawpaw possibly sending in something as well. And I don't see anything at the moment. Hope everyone had a fantastic holiday weekend or holidays and excellent Christmas if you celebrate, that is. It was pretty good here. I got a bunch of books, one of which was the Fizban's Treasure of Dragons, which I haven't dipped into yet because I'm currently reading the book DIY Lithium Batteries: How to Build Your Own Battery Pack by Micah Toll. I've been into learning how to create my own lithium batteries so I can start making and converting e-bikes, at least for myself and for family members and whatnot. So I'm excited to get to doing that. And then I've got a whole bunch of other plans and what have you for lithium batteries, like making myself a solar generator in case the power goes out. Yeah, the Fizbands. I happened to just flip through it real quick and I saw the table for like, oh, how to get your party going to a copper dragon's lair for some reason. I go, oh, this book is even better than I thought it was going to be. So I'm looking forward to that. Really diving into that one. I still have to get into Tasha's Cauldron as well. I kind of skimmed through it, but didn't really give it a good read like I did with Xanathar's Guide. I'm so behind on that. I got the general idea of what I needed from it and just moved on, unfortunately. So, while I'm waiting for Clawpaw to get us his bit of information, I do have Laurendar's request from 2 weeks ago, the Swarm of Rot Grubs. And we can definitely take a look at that. Let's see here. Currently on COVID quarantine, so I've been planning your D&D campaign. Sorry to hear that. I'm guessing it's the Omicron variant there, Vanderi, huh? I had a bit of a exposure to that as well. I didn't feel any, I didn't notice any kind of problems or effects coming from the person I may have got it from, but they were exposed to someone that was positive, and then they got tested a few days later and ended up being positive, but it was Christmas Eve that they got infected, and then Christmas Day I met up with those people, and then I got a call later on that they were first, I was a first contact and whatnot. So I haven't felt anything. So I think I got lucky. Oh, okay. So just a minor cold. Yeah, I heard positive things from the Omicron variant, that even though it's very easily caught, it's weak and the body's being able to fend it off really well. So apparently, like, the antibodies are getting like super jacked up from it. But yeah, Happy New Year to everyone, being the January 1st of 2022. Glad to see everyone's had a good Christmas and New Year's. I didn't really have much of a New Year's myself. It was just kind of a we watched some TV, I did my night chores, and then happened to just make it to like midnight, and I was like, oh, hey, Happy New Year's, gave my wife a kiss, and then went to bed. real boring. But glad to see you're doing well, Vanderi, from that. Then it wasn't anything too serious for you. All right, so let's jump into this, and we'll take a look at the Swarm of Rot Grubs here. And we have ourselves a CR 1/2 tiny swarm of beasts. And we'll go ahead and switch that into tiny, give ourselves the 1/2 there. And let's see here. Have I reviewed the Knoll Fiend? Which Knoll are you talking about? Let me see here. I've got Witherling, Vampire, Packlord, Hunter, Flesh Gnar, and Fang of Yinugu. I think I did look at the Fang of Yinugu, though. Oh, the Flind. Oh, no, I haven't looked at the Knoll Flind. Let's put that on the list. All right. How did I even pronounce that beforehand? Oh, man. Anyways, so we'll add that to the list here. along with whatever Clawpaw throws at us as well. He's got a homebrew that he asked me to take a look at, so I'd be more than happy to do that. All right, so back to the swarm of rock grubs. We've got ourselves a CR 1/2 monster with an armor class of 8. And let's see here, what else do we got? 5d8 hit dice, which... Oh, right. This isn't tiny. It's tiny beast, but it's a medium swarm. So I got to fix that. Giving us the 22 hit points as we see here. And then we can add in our stats of 2 strength, 7 dex, 10 constitution, 1 intellect, 2 wisdom, and 1 charisma. Man, this is probably the most bare bones I've ever seen a monster have for stats. Even constitution, that's surprising. All right, so we're not getting any real major bonuses here. And we'll move on to our, monster traits here. And we see that we have piercing and slashing for damage resistances, but we only have 2 of those. And generally speaking, I only work on 3, so I'm going to omit the damage resistances for now and maybe come back to that if we're not finding the CR 1/2, which probably we won't find. After that, we've got our Swarm for a monster trait. Sorry, that was in the skills area before. A little rusty. And now we're in the monster traits of Swarm. Because the Swarm doesn't have any real effects besides the fact that it has to be in the same space and it can't regain hit points, there's no benefits to the CR here. It doesn't modify the CR for our monster. So we'll move on to its only attack, which is Bites. And it has a +0 to hit. So we actually have to switch that to 0, which is a first there. And then after that, we have a reach of 0. One creature in the swarm space is hit. The target is infested by 1d4 rock grubs. So on average, we will say 2 rock grubs. And at the start of each of the target's turns, the target takes 1d6 piercing damage per rock grub infesting it. So we'll have, what is that, 1d6? So yeah, that's simply 3.5 on average. So every rot grub will be 3.5. And then we'll say on average, for the first attack, we will have 2 rock grubs. So round 1 will just be 3.5 times 2. And then on round 2, provided they still haven't been attacked, we will do some more. But let's see what else we have in the bite before I move along any further here. At the start of each of the turns, the target takes 1d6 piercing. All right, applying fire to the bite wound before the end of the turn. Target's next turn deals 1 fire damage to the target and kills these rock grubs. After this time, these rock grubs are too far under the skin to be burned. Okay, so that's terrifying. If a target infested by rock grubs ends its turn with 0 hit points, it dies, and as the rock grubs burrow into its heart and kill it. Any effects that cures disease kills all rock grubs infesting the target. So, definitely want to get those rock grubs off you immediately. It reminds me of the Tale of the Manticore podcast I've been listening to, and this green slime that hit people. And the author of this solo podcast said the dwarves that were with them knew how to deal with this green slime, and you have to immediately burn it, and it was just a race against time. It's a good podcast if you're looking for them. It's interesting. It's completely let's see here. It's completely chaos based. So the dice rolls and the guy pulls no punches on people in the groups and whatnot. So let's continue on here. Round 2, since there's nothing else going on with the bites, the rock grubs, we'll say another 2 rock grubs land on, and we'll end up with multiplying round 2 again for 14 damage, and then potentially, if the rock grubs are still around and are able to get into the person, we'll now have, 6 technically rock grubs going on here. So we'll take, let's see here, yeah, per rock grub infesting it. So then it would be what? It should be another, so it would be 14 plus, am I doing this right? I want to make sure. Yeah, they do sound terrifying. And thank you for the page there, Vandari. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right number here, because we have 14. So yeah, all right. So it should be 7 times 3. So we'll take that, times it by 4. No, darn it, I'm getting confused. Hold on. So it would be 7. And then 14, because it would be... all right. Times this times 4. And then we'll do this times 6 for 6 rock grubs. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. I wasn't going to get it unless I did rounds 1 and 3 together. Let's see here. They remind me of the grubs in Bloodborne in the Cathedral of the Deep. I sadly haven't played Bloodborne. I really want to. But I know what you're talking about. I can definitely see that for sure. The cause bleed buildup. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just that constant snowball effect. So we're looking at, by the end of round 3, potentially 21 damage if the swarm hasn't been burned off and the rock grubs are still underneath. Hey, Lorindar, there you are. I was thinking about having a group of kobolds throwing jars of grubs when the party invades the kobold lair, or use them as part of traps. Yeah, that's pretty rough. And let's see here. Dark Souls 3. Okay, not Bloodborne. Yeah, they're still just as evil, those games. Either one. I've only played Dark Souls 1, I think. And I did play a bit of Demon Souls, sadly. I just couldn't get very far with them. The game was very punishing. I hate it, thanks. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so it looks like with everything said and done, after 3 rounds of combat and 6 rock grubs doing cumulative damage, yeah, because that would be 2, 4, 6. So we're doing 21 damage by round 3. The average damage is 14. There's nothing else going on here. The rock grubs is technically a CR1 quarter because of how low its AC is. And actually, let's see here. 13, 8, that would be what, 5, so minus 2. Technically, that would be a negative 1/8 on the DCR there, because it doesn't technically go any lower than 0. So let's see here. We would have 1/2, oops, minus, let's see here, 0.125, giving us that. Divide that by 2. Oh, shoot, we're like right in the middle between 1/8 and 1/4. So yeah, CR1 quarter is going to be the correct number for the rock grubs. And then, how would we fix it? Let's see here. Maybe 1d4 rock grubs. So if we say times 3 instead. Let's see what happens if we do that. So we do that times 3. And then this one times 6. And then this one times 9. Let's see what happens if we do 1d6 rock grubs instead of 1d4. Now we have a CR1 half. So if we have that and we say 1d6 rock grubs dealing 3.5 piercing damage, infesting the target, then we can get ourselves a CR1 half, as we see here in the green. Otherwise, we're seeing, you know, much less. We're going to see a 1/4. But the other problem too is that this is an ineffective striker. They have a 0 to hit, which is going to be extremely hard for these things to deal any kind of damage as it is. But, you know, once they get under the skin, then there's some trouble. So this is a multifaceted target or monster here, and maybe that's what they're counting in for this whole thing of like, okay, once the rock grubs are under the skin, you can't get them out without without using any kind of a cure disease spell. So there might be something to this of needing the cure disease spell to get rid of the rock grubs. So in theory, I wouldn't necessarily update the rock grubs and probably leave them as is. I'm sure I'm missing something there. Like I said, that has to do with this last paragraph here. Let's see here. Lorindar. I'm notorious for my killer kobolds. Yes, he is. Lorindar is very notorious for that. But then again, we know why, because they're rated at CR1/8, but they're actually a CR1 quarter. Remember the video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I have it there. Clawpaw, no sneak peek. No sneak them into food, or better, put eggs into the meals. Oh, no. Yes, exactly, Vandari. That's what I was saying here for the 1/4 because of the death conditions. Like, characters are flat out dead if they get to the heart and a person has 0 hit points. No coming back from that. And then Lorindar, let's see here. And you have to damage yourself to get rid of them. if no removed disease is available. True. Yeah, you would need to apply some kind of fire damage. Applying fire to the bite wound before the end of the target's turn deals 1 fire damage to the target and kills these rock grubs. So I guess they're considering maybe using a torch to burn and cauterize the wound that the rock grub had bit into. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing 1/4, but with everything that we've talked about, this more than likely is a 1/2. I wouldn't adjust this, but you know, I know I'm missing something here. This is something extra to look at. Let's see here. PC gets infected and gets knocked to 0 by something else. Boom, insta death. Yes, exactly. Then they are just literal worm food. All right, so we've taken a look at the swarm of rock grubs. I'm going to leave this one as a, yeah, maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's under or overrated, but it's probably not. I would say it's definitely right where it should be for this one. And what are we looking at? Swarm of beetles. Okay, rock grub. Yes, we evaluated it, and we found, what was it, 0, 1/2, 1/4. And we'll do overrated with an asterisk. Lots of other conditions not yet worked out. Insta death and fire may be cause for CR 1/2. We'll leave it at that. Yep, there are a few odd variables to them, Lorindar. True. Okay, now that we've taken a look at that one, let's take a look at the Flind, which was, what was it, page 153, so probably on 154. And we have ourselves the Flind, this fun-looking kobold, or not kobold, this gnoll here. And let's see here. What do we got? Anything else going on with the Flind? Some information, but just more stuff about being a gnoll. All right. Back to the calculations tool. We will reset it and take a look at the Flind here. All right. So what do we got here? 16 AC for the chainmail. And actually, I need to take a look at something real quick. I was on TikTok, and there was someone wearing chainmail they had made, which looked awesome. And then they were talking about, like, the hashtag. It was like, oh, hashtag rogue. And I go, oh, great. Now you've got disadvantage on your stealth checks. And I just need to double check that. Let's see here. Yeah, disadvantage on stealth checks. I'll have to go. Someone commented back, they're like, oh, they don't get disadvantage. And I go, I will get back to you. All right. Let's see here. So we got 16 AC for the chainmail. And it's supposed to be a CR9. So we'll throw that in. It's a medium humanoid gnoll with, let's see, 15 D8 hit dice. What we got? Lorindar. Actually, if you don't mind, I have a question about the grubs I just thought about. If they were to crit, would it mean 2d4 grubs that infect the PC? No. Because the crit is just for the damage to hit. You would roll to see how many rock grubs are infecting. So the crit shouldn't be applied. It should actually, the crit should only affect maybe 1 rock grub and not all of them, because you would be rolling separately technically for each rock grub, I think. Pretty sure anyways. Although you could, if you wanted to do that, you'd say you could potentially do that, but I think you would roll the 1d4 prior. I don't know. Nah, I'll have to go back and look at it. I will do something for it. I'll deep dive into that later on for the shorts video, Lorindar, and see if maybe that has anything to do with it. Could be. Who knows? If that's the case, then that would be what? 2d4 rock grubs? You're looking at a 5% chance at that? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right, back at it. We have 15 hit dice going in here, and we got, what, 20 strength, 10 dex, 19 constitution, 11 intellect, 13 wisdom, and 12 charisma. After that, we've got 2 saving throws in the skills area. Those don't matter because we only have 2 conditions here. And the rest doesn't matter either. We can move right on from there. Next, we have Aura of Bloodthirst in the monster trait section. If the Flint isn't incapacitated, any creatures with the Rampage trait can make a bite attack as a bonus action while within 10 feet of the Flint. Interesting. So, the Flint itself doesn't have Rampage, which is kind of pointless anyways because Rampage only deals 2 effective damage per round. But I mean, it is cool. It's helpful if, you know, a target is knocked out by a Gnoll. So, unfortunately, the Aura of Blood isn't really going to affect the CR of the Flint at all. So we can just move on into the action section here. And we have a whole bunch of things going on. Why do the flails always have their own traits? This is like some crazy magic flail here going on. Anyways, so we've got the Flint makes 3 attacks, 1 with each of its different flail attacks, or 3 with its longbow. Alright, so that's kind of neat. We can do 1 of each, or 3 with a longbow. Well, considering the flail is going to be hitting easier, we will look at that first, but we can then look at the longbow afterwards. So for right now, the flail has a +9 to hit, so we'll put that in. And then we're looking at the Flail of Madness. And let's see, we've got 10 damage going from, let's see, 1d10. And then +5 from the strength. And targets must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Failed saves, they, let's see here, make a melee attack against a random target which within its reach on its next turn. If it has no target within reach, even after moving, it loses its action on that turn. Alright, so that's cool. The extra damage doesn't really apply to the Flint as far as I'm concerned. And, oh, I see, yeah, each of the heads of the flail is enchanted. But it's like that for Yeenoghu as well. Maybe Yeenoghu enchanted the flail. I'm sure that's probably what happened. I'd have to read up on the Flint notes here, and I'm sure that's what it's saying. Okay, oh wait, hold on, I see it right there. Yep, okay. It wields a flail imbued with powerful magic by Yeenoghu himself. Sure enough, it's basically he gave the Flint his flail, probably. Alright, so, yep, there it is. Vandary just confirmed. Alright, so the Flail of Madness is, right now, as far as I'm concerned, just 10.5 damage. Let's see here. The Flail of Pain, on the other hand, is going to be a lot more. We have the 10.5 plus 22 psychic damage coming from, what is that, 4d10? Okay. So we got 22 there. And then lastly, we have the Flail of Paralysis. And that one is going to be 1d5 as well. And then the target must succeed on a con save or be paralyzed until the end of its next turn. Now, let's see here. Paralyzed. What is that condition? Paralyzed. Let's see here. Incapacitated. So incapacitated is similar to Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which is a level 1 spell. And level 1 spells have... I just updated my chart here. Let's see here. Hideous Laughter. Oops. Let's get rid of that. Hideous Laughter. 11 effective DPR. So we will say that the Flail of Paralysis also has 11 effective DPR. I don't know any easy way to do that, so let's see here. We'll just go with that for flail number 1, this for flail number 2, and then this plus 11 for flail number 3, and then the multi-attack will be that plus that for that multi-attack. And then we also have the longbow, so we might as well do that and work it out as well. Let's see here. Oh yeah, 1d5. Let's see here. The longbow is pretty simple. Wow, yeah, it doesn't have any dex bonus. Okay, so that is just 1d8 right there, and so the multi-attack for the longbow is nothing amazing, but a good way to stay out of harm's way if need be. So obviously, the Flint is going to be getting the most amount of damage from the flail itself. So all 3 rounds of combat are going to be just the flail. Oops. Let's get out of legendary actions, go into the rounds of combat, and we'll take the flail at 64.5 and multiply that times 3 to give us our full 3 rounds of combat. And we're looking at a CR8 so far. Now, where might have I suggested something could have been off? Or maybe that was the rock grubs. We got our 9. They might be adding in the damage from the Flail of Madness, possibly. And let's see here. I could say maybe 10 effective DPR as a potential average of how much damage they might be doing. So let's see what happens if we add in 10. No, that doesn't really do anything there. Interesting. It looks like the Flint might be overrated. Curious. I don't see anything else off the top of my head at the moment. Because we have the paralyzed here. Extra damage here. And then we have the one melee, makes a melee attack against a random target. Huh. I wonder if there... I can't think of it, but I wonder if there's a spell similar to this effect on the Flail of Madness. Yeah, there's got to be one. Crown of Madness, is it? Maybe it's that. That makes people target whoever. Let's see here. Crown of Madness. While the target is charmed in this way, a twisted crown. All right. Charmed target must use its actions before moving on each of its turns to make a melee attack against a creature other than itself that you mentally choose. Okay. So let's go with this. So the Flail of Madness, we can use the effective DPR of Crown of Madness, which is a level 2 spell. So let's come over here and take a look at our level 2 spell for Crown of Madness and see what we get there. And Crown of Madness is worth 16 effective DPR, in theory. These are all updated as well with the chart I found from the custom spell creation in the DMG. So hopefully that works. And I always do that. Okay, so let's see here. With the Flail, we would add in, what was it? 16 effective DPR for that one. All right, so let's say 16 effective DPR there. And now we have a CR9. So that's what they were doing. They actually did count that in. At least as far as I'm concerned. So with the Flail of Madness basically giving us a 1-turn Crown of Madness for free, we're getting 16 effective DPR, which bumps all the attacks up to pretty much the average of 26. And then, it gets us right up to where we need, and we end up getting ourselves a CR9 Flint. So it looks like now that we have all that worked out, we have ourselves an even rated Null, and it would be a striker. So definitely would want that coming in and doing the flail attacks if need be. But let's take a look at what the CR is if you keep the Flint in the back row only using the longbow. So let's switch this to 4 since that's its bonus to hit. And we will then change that to this times 3, and we end up with a CR3. So if you want the Flint to survive battle, and maybe it's out there, controlling the ranks and telling the gnolls where to go, we have ourselves a CR3 monster. But if it has to switch into actual combat, then maybe you would want to take the, maybe you take the average of the 3 based off however many rounds of combat you use it at. I don't know. That's one way to do it, unless you have the Flint charge in, flail swinging, and hits a whole bunch of times until it needs to retreat at roughly 50% hit points or so, and then it tries to escape or something. Who knows? But provided the flail is, you're using the flail every round of combat, with the the correct attack bonus modifier, it looks like we have a 9. Yes, Clawpaw, that is a huge downgrade from 9 to 3. That's a 6 CR drop, but it makes sense considering when we look at the multi-attack of 80 and 13, and especially a 5-point drop as well on the attack bonus, because that's where the real meat and potatoes is for any monster and any player. Attack bonus, DCs, and AC. Those are the major modifiers right there. Okay, do we have any other recommendations? Because I don't see Clawpaw's item there. So any other monsters we want to take a look at? We've got another half hour before I usually like to end the stream. Otherwise, we can take a look at something else that is currently on my list. Let's see. I gotta put in the notes here for the Flind. Alright, so that was evaluated. And what do we got here? 5, 12, and 9. 5, 12, 9. CR3, if only using the bow. Oh, you posted on Discord. Okay. No, that's fine. Let me pull up Discord. I usually have Discord closed out so that I don't get any pop-ups during the live stream, but I'll take care of it. I'll take a look there. All right, let's see. What do we got on the Discord? I'll bring that back over here. Let's see. Suggestions. Yes, apparently it does work. All right, so I'm going to download that. I'll just drop that over there. And if anyone wants to join the Discord, let's see here. Let me throw a link into chat. If you're not in the Discord and you'd like to join, here is the Discord link. It only works for 7 days, so if anyone's watching this as a VOD later on, you've got 7 days for that Discord link to join up. Then it will self-destruct. Let's see here. Discord. Cool. All right, so I've downloaded that, and let me pull that up real quick. Open file. Ah, a Mogul. Okay. Let's bring that into view. That's an interesting little aberration. Okay. Take a note of this. Let's see, VGM. I'll just VGM notes there. And we have a Mogul. What am I seeing? Homebrew. Okay. Average not in Discord fan, average Discord enjoyer. Yes, very cool lore, but also disturbing. All right, let's take a look at the Mogul here. Go back to my tool, reset the tool, and let's see here, get rid of that on the side screen so I can see what's going on there. Okay, we have a medium aberration, so that can stay there. Should be CR3. I didn't really know if it was a 3 or 4, so have fun. All right, well, we will see what happens. Let's see here. AC 13 coming from its dexterity bonus. Perfect. It has, let's see here. If it's medium, we'll need to update the hit dice from 10d10 to 10d8. So let's see if we can get close to 75 hit points. So we'll put 10 in for now. And then we'll put in the stats of, let's see, 18, 16, 17, 2, 10, and 2. All right, so we have 75. Oh, that worked out. Okay, so yeah, just update that claw paw from 10d10 plus 10 to 10d8 plus 30, and we have ourselves the 75 hit points. Interesting. Okay. After that, into the let's see here, into the skills area, we've got ourselves 3 saving throws. So we'll go ahead and update that to 3, giving us a +2 effective AC bonus. And then we have damage vulnerabilities to Radiant, but since it's only one condition, we won't add that in. And then we have damage resistances, a whole bunch of those. We will put that in. And we also have damage immunities for necrotic, but because we only have 1 necrotic in the immunities, we won't bother with that. So we will just add in damage resistances, which should give us ×2. Yes, ×2 hit points. Perfect. So we are already up to CR3. Let's see what happens when we add in our attacks and whatnot. Now that we're done with the damage or skills area, we can skip down into the monster traits. Let's see here. Okay, we got a couple actions as well. So we have Ocular Body. The Mogul has advantage on intelligence and wisdom checks. It makes with its eyes. Makes sense considering it has a whole bunch of eyes all over the place. If one of those roll is a 10 or lower, it gets treated as an 11, but has advantage on saves against being blinded. Yeah, totally makes sense. That's all cool. I like that. That's an awesome monster trait there. Really keeps with the theme of the picture, but it's not going to affect the CR. So we'll move past that, and we go and see that we have Pack Tactics. So we know how that works. Pack Tactics will give us a +1 effective attack bonus, and that's it for the monster traits. So far, looking good. After that, we have our actions of a multi-attack, tackle, tentacle sting, and duplicate. So let's start from the top and see that we have the Mogul can make 2 attacks or use its duplicate feature. Okay, makes sense. All right. And we have a +5 to hit, so we are basing this off of its +2, let's see here, proficiency bonus, yep, the proficiency bonus, and its dexterity, so that's going to be the +5 there. So that will be bumped up to a +6 because of Pack Tactics. You're welcome. And let's see here. After that, we have Tackle for the first attack, which is going to be +5 to hit, reach 5 foot, 1 target, hit with 13 bludgeoning damage. So let's see here. We've got 2d8 +4 from strength. Okay, so it's either... If we're using strength on the attack, then we need to add strength into the bonus to hit, to the 2 hit. So it should be either +4 for strength or +5 for... Okay. All right, so I need to downgrade the attack bonus to +4. Okay. Since that's the higher one. All right, so we'll do that to 4, and then the effective attack bonus will be 5 with Pack Tactics. Okay, so we have 13 there for the tackle, which works out perfectly fine. And then Tentacle Sting, +4 to hit as well, because we are now using strength. And it takes 1d4 +4 piercing damage. And the target must succeed on a con save or be stunned until the start of the creature's next turn. So if we look back at the stun condition is actually the same as incapacitating, which is also Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and that will be equivalent to 11 effective DPR. So for attack number 1, we have the tackle, and then for the Tentacle Sting, we have 6.5 plus 11 for the stunning of until the creature's next turn. So we're looking at 13 and 17.5. And the Mogul can make 2 attacks or use its duplicate feature. So if we're able to use any attack we want, we might as well use the Sting twice. Makes perfectly good sense, since we have 5 foot reach, 1 target, no special conditions for that target, or how to use the Tentacle Sting. And I'll just say, just use the Tentacle attack twice. It's for 35 points of damage for the multi-attack. Now, let's take a look at the duplicate real quick. The Mogul makes a Constitution saving throw. On a successful save, the Mogul clones itself 1d4 times. So you can end up with 2 more Moguls. The new Mogul has the same hit points, condition, stats as the original. If the save fails, the Mogul does not duplicate and cannot move until the start of the next turn. All right, so it makes completely good sense. It can use its bonus action to make 1 tackle attack. This attack cannot gain advantage by any means. The duplicate clones appear in a 5 foot radius around the original Mogul. If there is not enough space, the Mogul cannot use duplicate. Okay, that's cool. I like that. The only thing is that duplicate will make the encounter more difficult. Yeah, that was my hard part to calculate. Okay. Yeah, so duplicate is just going to make the encounter more difficult. So once we find out what the actual number is, this is going to potentially ramp it up even higher. But you do have the condition that the Mogul's duplicates have the same hit points, the current hit points, I guess. So is that the case of like, okay, the Mogul is going, if the Mogul has 50 of its 75 hit points, then the duplicates also get 50 as well? Because that could be taken a little bit into consideration, but it really depends, I guess. Although everything else would be the same. Anyways, let's take a look at this, and we'll move on here. So we'll do multi-attack, the Sting times 2, not 3. And we're looking at a CR5 if we use the Sting twice. Now, if we want to maybe say 1 Tentacle Sting and 1 Tackle, Let's see here. Yeah, I thought of the mogul as a later game spam monster. Get rid of them quick or get overwhelmed. Okay, that makes sense. If this is going to be something you don't fight at that level, I could totally see that. It could also be an interesting epic encounter if you have the mogul set up as maybe some kind of a special boss encounter that players could die to. I'm cool with that too. So you have one mogul and the very first turn they go to duplicate themselves. That could be interesting as well. And then you end up with like 2 or 3 of them. Ooh. Or anywhere. You could have a maximum of 5 or a minimum of 2. That could be rough. You might want to make duplicate maybe like a recharge as well. I don't know. The recharge might be more advantageous. I'm not sure. You could, let me see here. I like that it's you roll. I don't know. It's interesting. I could see this going either way, as a roll or as a as like a recharge. I would say try 2 versions of this duplicate out. The one how you have it now, and then one where you get rid of the con save and you just have a 5/6 refresh. Imagine an evil witcher who summons a few of them every turn. Yeah, exactly. This could get really rough. So, at the moment, with 2 tentacle stings and the effective damage of stunning a target clawpaw, we have a CR5. So let's say instead of allowing the players to pick 2 tentacle stings, which clearly people might not pick because of the fact that it only does 6, but it does stun. Let's see what happens if we pick 1 of each instead. So let's say our multi-attack is one of each attack. All right, it's still technically a CR5. And if we do 2 slam attacks, what do we got there? We'll equal that and do that times 2. Still CR5. Okay, so regardless of how we look at this, the current the current amount of damage that this thing is putting out, yeah, we're stuck at a CR5, unfortunately. That's actually a really good question, Lorendar. So the duplicates can duplicate, and from the sounds of it, oh wait, yeah, it looks like it can. Yeah, yep. Maybe they have Magic the Gathering summoning sickness. They can't duplicate on the first turn. Oh wow, yeah. Okay. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. You just have one, and then you roll the initiative for them, and then they. Oh man, yikes. Okay, that's brutal. I like that though. That's fun. All right, do we have any other recommendations now? Do you want me to, Clawpaw, do you want me to try and work this down to a CR3, or do you want to do that on your own? I think what we could do might be just doing 1 attack instead of 2. Let's see what happens if we do 1 attack. Oh, that's a CR4 there. If we do that one. Yeah, okay. Huh. You want to, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. You want to play with the damage a little bit. Yeah, because if we just do 1 attack from these, we get it down to, okay, we get it down to a CR4. So instead of multi-attack, just 1 attack or the duplicate feature, which in this case, you wouldn't need to even add in the multi-attack if you want to get this down to a CR3. After that, what would we want to do after that? Let's see what happens here. What could we do? The problem is that the stun feature on the tentacle sting is rough. What if we get rid of the tentacle sting, but instead do poison? The poison condition. Let's just see what happens there, just for the sake of it. So let's do that. We'll tone this down to 1 die. And we're looking at, okay, so far we have ourselves a CR3 if we tone it down to 1 die. And if we say, tentacle sting, poison condition, we'll say maybe we can get 2 targets poisoned. What are we looking at there? Yeah, CR4. Darn. Okay, what if we do this? I like the idea of the stun, but that effective DPR is rough. So if we go back to, let's see here. If we go back to making a multi-attack as it stands now, let's see here. One of each attack? How bad is that going to be? That's a CR4. All right, what if we drop... Yeah, if we get rid of Pack Tactics. No, wow, that still doesn't do anything. Dang. Oh, it's because of how... Oh, I'm looking at this the wrong way. It's the silly... The defenses are so high on this thing because of the damage resistances. Okay, hold up. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Because I'm Yeah, all right. I know what's going on here. Let's see here. CR4. If it goes up to CR5, then we're on this weird... We're at that stupid infinite loop here. All right, so then let's see if we bypass resistances, bludgeoning, slashing, piercing damage from non-magical weapons, poison, and psychic. If we get rid of that. All right, so let's see here. If we get rid of the damage resistances, or give it like 1 or 2, where that wouldn't trigger so often. Let's see what happens if we put this all back into place. This plus the 11. Okay. Now we're on to something here. Let's do this times 2 again. Okay. Here we go. If you want a 3, or if you want a 4, then you could definitely keep the damage resistance in place, but drop down the attacks. And we're looking at a tank with how you have it set up currently. If you want this to be more of a striker that does a lot more damage, get rid of damage resistances, or at least get it down to maybe 1 or 2 conditions. And you can leave everything else in here. So you could say, get rid of all the bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing stuff, and keep on poison and psychic damage. I would say keep those there. You can keep all the attacks the same, even as they state with the stun and being able to attack twice and duplicate. But getting rid of the damage resistance brings us right down to the CR3 where you wanted it. Okay, so if you want it to be a tank, let's go back to the tank then. All right, so with the damage resistances in place, we then need to get rid of the multi-attack and the stun effect on the tentacle sting, which then I would just say rename that to something like tentacle whip, and maybe give it no, it's flying. So if you give it anything more than a 5-foot reach, then we would be into the flies territory here, and then it would be a CR4. So there's no real easy way to get this down to CR3 except for dropping the hit dice on it. The next thing you could do if you really wanted it at CR3, let's say 7 hit dice. That could be helpful, maybe 8. Yeah. If you want it CR3, get rid of multi-attack, get rid of the stun on tentacle sting, and drop 2 hit dice, and that will get you your CR3. Otherwise, it could be a CR4, just up the XP a little bit, and you're good at CR4 without having to do too much work with it there. And there you go, Clawpaw. I hope you've been taking notes. You can always look at the video later on to get all this silliness taken care of there. All right. Anything else? We've got another 15 or so minutes in the live stream, and do we have a 4th monster to look at? I'm not doing the recaps at the moment because of everything else I've been doing. I still have work. Work's got me doing the when I get back to work, I have all the website stuff to do. So yeah, I'd like to, if we can get another monster in, that'd be great. You're very welcome, Clawpaw. I'm glad I could help. It's a fun monster to look at. I like that. That's cool. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Turn that off for now. I'll go back and take a look at that later. Let's see here. Okay, what do I have on here that may not have been looked at? I've got a Frost Giant Everlasting one. I could take a look at that. That was something someone had requested. What's this one? Ancient Sea Serpent from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Oh, yes. Price requested that one. Let's take a look at the Frost Giant Everlasting one. That's also from Volos, so let's make it a Volos night. 149. And let's take a look here. Oh, okay. All right. Nice. We got a whole bunch of things going on here for the Frost Giant Everlasting one. All right, back to the tool and resetting. Let's see what we got here. A huge giant. And we, let's see here. Should be a CR12. 15 AC of Patchwork Armor. We've got 14 D12 hit dice coming from, let's see here, 25 Strength, 9, 24, 9, 10, and 12. Giving us that 189 average hit points for this giant. And then moving down into the skills area, we have 3 saving throws. So we'll update that. +2 effective AC bonus, although nothing really moved so far because of the expectant. And then, let's see here, skills, don't care. Damage immunities, just a cold, so it's 1 condition. We will move on. Wait, we got extra heads. Oh yeah, oh look at that. Oof, I thought that was a shoulder pad. I've played World of Warcraft way too long. I don't play anymore, but I thought that was an extra shoulder, like a massive shoulder pad. Okay, so we're looking at least 3 more extra heads here and a polar bear? And then those extra heads down there? All right. So, let's see here. Monster traits. Extra heads. The giant has a 25% chance of having more than 1 head. If it has more than 1, it has advantage on wisdom checks, on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Okay. After that, we also have regeneration, which gives us +10. And it needs to take acid or fire damage, which is typical. And let's see here. Giant dies only if it starts its turn with 0 hit points and does not regenerate. Cool. So our giant will be gaining 30 actual hit points for the regeneration every turn. Well, not 30 every turn, but 10 every turn. And for the 3 rounds that we're checking, we get 30 there. And then we have the next one is Vaprax's Rage. Recharges after a short or long rest, so we get this once. As a bonus action, the giant can enter a rage at the start of its turn. The rage lasts 1 minute, or until the giant is incapacitated. While raging, the giant has the following benefits. So we're probably looking at a standard barbarian build here. The giant has advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When it makes a melee attack against, attack, the giant gains a +4 bonus to damage rolls. Okay. And then the giant has a resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So we will expect the giant to go into a rage immediately. Giant Smash. So we'll go ahead and throw in the damage resistances for those 3 there. And then we will also add in +4 bonus to, let's see here, to the damage rolls. Yes, so an extra just 4 damage on all that. All right, so for our damage, we have, let's see here, multi-attack, Great Axe, and a rock. And everything will be hitting with a +11. And then after that, let's see here, we've got the Great Axe, which is, what do we got? 26 damage, so we're looking at 3d12. And a modifier of strength, obviously, for 26.5. Or 30 slashing damage while raging. Oh, so it just adds it right in. All right, that's cool. I don't have an easy way of doing that, so I will just add that in after the fact. And then rock, ranged attack, 1 target, 29 damage. Okay, so we probably won't be using, obviously we wouldn't really be using the rock because we can only do 1 rock attack. And for some reason, they don't add in the rage damage from throwing a rock. Which makes me wonder, can you actually add rage damage to thrown melee weapons? From this, they're saying you don't, which is interesting. So we got 29 damage there. Okay. So we'll take this, and we'll add in 4 there, and then that will be that there. And our multi-attack will be Obviously, raging times 2, and then we will take that and add that in times 3. For a total of 181 for all 3 rounds of combat, and giving us an average of, let's see here, 61 points of damage. Whoever came up with the name, I love it. Rock, it's great, it's great. It certainly is. Frost Giant Everlasting One. Yes. Now I get why it's called the Everlasting One, because it's regenerating. Okay, so at the moment, with Rage, our giant is a CR 12, or 13, excuse me. I was looking at the 12 over here. So what happens if our giant isn't raging? Well, let's take off the resistance and also get rid of the extra little bit of damage. Okay. If we aren't raging, then the giant is a CR 10. Alright, so then let's see what happens if we average all that out. If we spend a couple rounds not raging, and we spend a couple rounds raging, we end up with 11.5, and we round that up to a CR 12. So I'm guessing they may have done that to get the CR 12 for this one. So in theory, if the giant isn't constantly raging, let's see here, which it just rages for 1 minute. It's not like the barbarian where it can get cut off if you're not constantly attacking. Yeah, it's a CR 13. Yeah, I was looking at your message there, Lauren Dar, about ranged melee. So maybe that's only for player barbarians and not necessarily monsters that get the bonus to the damage here, because right now we see here in the Great Axe that it's saying, okay, if you're not raging, it's 26. If you are raging, it's 30. But it doesn't say it for the rock, which is curious. I don't know. So, yeah, maybe they averaged out the 2. So if the for whatever reason, the Frost Giant Everlasting One doesn't start in rage and has a particular reason to rage at some point, I don't know. But there we have it. Let me go and take my notes on this. Let's see here. It was 14. Oh, so we have a tank. 14, 11 to give us 13. Yes, that is very curious, Lauren Dar. It's a 14, 11, 13. Underrated. I'll put a mark there. Not raging, CR 10. Raging, CR 13. Oops. Average CR is 12. So maybe they averaged out the 2. I could see that possibly being the case. Who knows? I haven't played, unfortunately I haven't. No, this is from Volo, so it technically wasn't played anywhere. Although it might be in maybe like Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. I don't know. They might have used the monster there. But anyways, that's the live stream. We'll end it there now that we've taken a look at 4 monsters and 1 homebrew. Thank you, Clawpaw, for the homebrew. That was a fun one. And yeah, good to be back. Quite funny that it was the first day of the new year for 2022, and getting right back into the saddle of doing a live stream and taking a look at some of these monsters with all of you there watching along with me, which I thank you for being here. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, this is unfortunately the end of the live stream for this week. Join me next week on Saturday at 10 p.m. where we will take a look at another monster. And if you've made it to the end of the live stream and hung out with me, you guys are awesome. Thank you, everyone in chat. Lauren Dar, Clawpaw, Vanderi. Was that everyone? I think that's everyone for tonight, which is perfectly understandable because, people might be working off hangovers still, or still partying. I don't know. Yes, it was a good start to the new year. You are very welcome, Clawpaw. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Anyone else watching this live stream to the end, you're awesome. Thank you all for joining me. And this is Andrew with D&D CR Exposed asking, are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the new year, and I will see you next Saturday.